Hi, I'm Ellen Stofan, also known as Dr. E, the John and Adrian Mars Director of the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum.
And I'm Thomas Zurbuchen, the Associate Administrator for Science at NASA, also known as Dr. Z. And we're both in our home offices. Just like everybody else, we're with our families, and it's kind of a difficult time for all of us. So we're thinking about people out there in the same kind of situation. But see, science never sleeps, and we want to share amazing stories with you even now.
And Thomas, we have a great one for today because we're coming up on a really important anniversary. It's the 30th anniversary of the Hubble Space Telescope, which launched on April 24th, 1990.
So let's start with the science impact. For me, it's kind of about three numbers. The first number is 15,000 plus publications to date. The second one is 160 terabytes of data. And the third number is over 12,000 active users. And frankly, that's just stunning, right, Ellen?
It really is. And it's just, again, it's always hard for me to explain to people how much Hubble changed. And when you think back across the discoveries it's made, it's really unbelievable. And so I think of the fact that Hubble discovered two of the moons of Pluto. And of course, the fact that Hubble was actually instrumental in discovering a number of exoplanets.
I ask people to close their eyes and think about the word galaxy and ask them which image did you see. And in 9 out of 10 people everywhere, they see a Hubble image, galaxies of the deep exposure, the Andromeda Nebula, they see the Orion Nebula, some of these images that are iconic and will forever be how we think about the universe. But let's switch quickly to the people. Let's talk about Nancy Grace Roman. Did you know her?
I never met her, but what an amazing career. And frankly, the amount of pushback she had every step of her career, and yet she persevered. From the fact that when she got hired at a way lower salary than she should have, to the fact she had to fight every step of the way. But she knew if we could put a telescope above the atmosphere, that what it would discover would change the world. And she was right.
For many of us and for the whole community, she's really considered the mother of Hubble.
I recently got to hear Kathy Sullivan, another amazing woman, and of course she was the astronaut that was responsible for deploying the Hubble Space Telescope on that Discovery flight that was led by Charlie Bolden. She was talking about how it was such genius to make that telescope serviceable by the astronauts. I don't think anybody thought it would last as long as it has, and of course they didn't know the trouble with Hubble and the fact there was a fundamental flaw in the mirror, but the brilliance of making that accessible by the space shuttle, making the instruments able to be removed and replaced, that really allowed Hubble to triumph over incredible challenges. I think of the times I've gotten to talk with John Grunsfeld, another mutual friend of ours, an astronaut who was on many of the repair missions, and as an astrophysicist himself, getting to go up and actually help keep this telescope not just alive, but have it excel to do things like really change our view of the universe with dark energy, dark matter, looking at black holes at the centers of galaxies. I mean, the list just goes on and on about what Hubble has achieved. And I will say, I want to give a huge shout out to the team right now. And in fact, we awarded them our Michael Collins Trophy at the Air and Space Museum because this amazing achievement, they're still getting data out of what we might say is a slightly elderly telescope with a few, think of it as maybe an old person with some creaky joints. The team just keeps finding ways to make that telescope keep going, make the data keep flowing.
There are these amazing teams that are just really what, in my opinion, exploration is all about. Yes, it's about the key ideas. It's about these other individuals that bring their heart and soul to bear and make these missions happen. It's the perseverance in tough times. And I really want to thank them for that.
And of course, Thomas, right now, we're also really excited that not only are we still going to have Hubble, but we're now actually about to get the next great observatory, the James Webb Space Telescope.
Can you imagine that? We have this other telescope that is in many ways a successor of Hubble, looking at deeper universe with colder detectors, with technologies the world has never seen. And it's getting ready right now over there in California. It's all together as one And next year is the year we're going to launch this telescope. We're so excited.
Thomas, we have actually a bunch of questions that have come in from the public. One of the questions we got was, we know the universe is expanding, but why are the two galaxies, and then they were referring to the upcoming collision of the Milky Way galaxy with the Andromeda galaxy. Don't worry, it's not for a long time. Why are these two galaxies converging if everything's moving away?
That's really an amazing fact. The first one, yes, the universe is expanding. And frankly, that's one of the reasons Hubble Space Telescope was built. To measure those expansions at an accuracy we now know that we never expected. We actually learned that the expansion is even getting faster. That's also one of the results in part from Hubble. It is true that those galaxies, those neighboring galaxies, are attracting each other. And frankly, they're converging because of gravity. The same force that keeps us to the Earth or makes the apple fall is the force that makes the Milky Way and Andromeda converge. So Hubble teaches us both about the expansion of the entire universe, but also the convergence of those two neighboring galaxies because of gravity.
This is a fun question for right now. What is the most exciting possibility of what we'll learn with the James Webb Space Telescope?
I really do believe that one of the most exciting parts is to get the atmospheres of exoplanets analyzed in new ways. Our hope is to learn about the possibilities of these exoplanets to harbor life, to really have similarities to the planets that we have around here. How would you have answered that question, Ellen?
Same way. For me, I know, and I'm not doing justice to all the amazing things that Webb is going to do. And in fact, it's going to even look back further in the history of the universe than Hubble's been able to. We know Hubble's been able to help us understand that the universe is about 13.75 billion years old. But because Webb is a more powerful telescope, it's actually going to be able to see back to within tens of millions of years of the Big Bang.
We're just about out of time. I've really enjoyed this at-home easy science, talking about the 30th anniversary of the Hubble Space Telescope and the many questions that come from this.
This has been fun. Thanks for joining us, and we can't wait for the next episode of Easy Science.